You know that feeling when you're surrounded by people and all you want is to disappear into your room for 3 days? And then you finally get the house to yourself, and within 2 hours, you're checking your phone every 5 minutes to see if anyone's thought about you? That's not contradiction. That's not you being broken or indecisive. That's you caught between two very real, very human needs that don't know how to coexist. Because what you actually want isn't solitude or company. What you want is control. You want to be able to choose when you're alone and when you're not. You want the presence of other people to be optional, available, but not required. And the fear kicks in the moment it stops feeling like a choice and starts feeling like a condition. Here's what's actually happening. When you crave solitude, what you're craving is relief from performance. From the exhausting work of being a person in front of other people. Even with people you love, people you're comfortable with, there's still this low-level awareness that you exist in their perception. That you're being seen, interpreted, responded to. And sometimes that weight is just too much, so you withdraw. You cancel plans, you go silent, you create distance. And for a while it feels perfect. You're finally free from the obligation to be anything other than exactly what you are in that moment. No one's needs to consider, no one's mood to manage, no one's expectations hovering over you. But then something shifts. The silence gets too loud. The freedom starts to feel like abandonment. And suddenly the same solitude you craved 12 hours ago feels like proof that no one actually cares whether you exist or not. Because here's the trick your brain plays on you: it conflates being alone with being forgotten. If this is hitting a little too close, you might want to stay with this. I don't think enough people talk about how normal this actually is. What you're actually afraid of isn't the physical state of being alone. It's what being alone might mean. That you're forgettable. That people are fine without you. That if you disappeared, life would just continue and maybe no one would even notice for a while. And the worst part is that solitude confirms that fear in real time. Because when you're alone, no one is actively choosing you. No one is reaching out, checking in, reminding you that you matter to them. The silence feels like evidence. See? You're not that important. You're not that missed. Never mind that you're the one who created the distance. Never mind that you literally asked for this. The fear doesn't care about logic. It cares about the story it's been telling you for years. That you're only valuable when you're useful to someone else. So you end up in this exhausting cycle. You meet people, so you show up, you engage, you perform. Then you need a break from performing, so you withdraw. Then you panic that the withdrawal means you're not needed, so you re-engage. And repeat. Forever. And what makes it worse is that both sides of this are real. The need for solitude is real. The fear of being alone is real. They're not opposing forces you need to reconcile. They're two different hungers that get activated by different triggers. Solitude is craved when you feel overextended, overobserved, overstimulated. Being alone is feared when you feel unseen, unanchored, disconnected from proof that you matter. And the tragedy is that most people try to solve this by managing their external circumstances. They surround themselves with people when they're scared and isolate when they're overwhelmed. But the problem isn't the amount of people around you. The problem is that you haven't figured out how to feel okay in either state. Because the people who've actually resolved this, who can be alone without spiraling and be around others without exhausting themselves, they're not doing anything magical. They've just stopped using other people as evidence of their own worth. That's it, that's the entire thing. When you need someone else's presence to prove you're not forgotten, solitude becomes terrifying. When you need someone else's absence to feel like yourself, connection becomes suffocating. You're just bouncing between two types of dependency. But when you can sit in a room by yourself and know, deeply know, that your value doesn't change based on whether anyone's thinking about you right now, that's when solitude stops feeling like exile and starts feeling like rest. And when you can be around people without needing to perform, without measuring your worth by how much they seem to enjoy you, without scanning for signs that you're too much or not enough, that's when connection stops feeling like labor. The hard part is that you can't think your way into that. You can't just decide one day that you're fine alone and have it be true. It's a slow, uncomfortable process of sitting with the fear when it shows up and not immediately doing something to make it go away. Which means actually being alone when you're scared of it. Not distracting yourself. Not reaching out just to feel less invisible. Just being there in the discomfort until your nervous system figures out that nothing bad is actually happening. And it means being around people when you'd rather disappear, but not performing. Not trying to be delightful or useful or entertaining. just existing near them and seeing if the world ends. Spoiler, it doesn't. What you start to realize is that the craving for solitude was never about hating people. It was about needing a break from the version of yourself you become around them. And the fear of being alone was never about needing company. It was about needing confirmation that you still exist in someone's world when you're not actively in front of them. Both of those needs make sense. But neither of them can actually be satisfied by adding or removing people from your immediate vicinity. The only thing that actually works is building a version of yourself that doesn't fluctuate based on whether anyone's watching. That feels real in solitude and doesn't dissolve in company. That can be alone without needing it to mean something about your worth, and be with others without needing it to prove something about your value. And that version of you? It's not something you find. It's something you become by repeatedly choosing not to let the fear make the decision for you,